Hello everyone, welcome to the Double Meal Dad. I'm your host, the Double Meal Dad. The concept of DMD is a simple one. How can I stretch my dollar farther by buying foods that are on sale and not have to eat the same thing over and over again? Essentially, get 2 meals in one. So today, we're going to do pizza dough. And pizza dough is an all-time favorite of the DMD because it's so versatile. We can use it to make pizza. We can make breakfast pizzas out of it, dinner pizzas out of it, we can make calzones out of it, and after we're done making it, we can freeze it and use it again and again. So we can make ourselves quite a bit of it, and we can save ourselves a lot of money in the process. So with our pizza dough today, we're also going to be serving some rare red. And again, remember the concept of DMD is to eat good quality foods, but also to drink some good quality wines and beer, but also to save ourselves money in the process. And here's a great bottle of wine that at our local HEB was on sale today for $7.98. And I know there's not a lot of good $8 bottle of wines out there, but I can guarantee you this is a very good bottle of wine. And our HEB, we're fortunate down here in Texas, if you buy buy half a case, you'll get 10% off the cost. So I saved myself another 80 cents on top of that, so it was really about $7 for a bottle of wine, which is a great price for a very good bottle of wine. Okay, so let's get on to the pizza dough. Very straightforward, very simple recipe. I want to start with 1 cup of water. Now I'm going to go ahead and microwave this for about 22-23 seconds, somewhere between 20 and 25 seconds, so that I can get the temp up. I'm looking for about 105 to 115 degrees on the temperature, and most microwaves, if you microwave a cup of cold water for about 22 or 23 seconds, you'll be right in that 105 to 115 degree temperature. And that's what we're looking for. The reason why we need that temperature is we're going to add yeast to the water, and when we add our yeast, we want to make sure that we get it to bloom, what they call bloom. We're going to get it to dissolve, but we also want to make sure that it doesn't kill the yeast. So if it's too hot, it'll kill the yeast. If it's not hot enough, our yeast won't actually start to bloom and to dissolve into the water. So I'm just going to put 2 teaspoons of instant yeast. And I just bought the bag of instant yeast. You can have, if you have the envelopes at home, 1 envelope of instant yeast is about 2 1/4 teaspoons. So you can substitute 1 envelope for using the bag. This just saves money if you buy it in bulk as opposed to buying those individual envelopes. Again, we don't judge here at the DMD, so whichever is better for you. I'm just going to go ahead and stir this up with my little teaspoon here, and it's going to start to break up so it's not chunky, and actually you'll see the yeast will start to fizz in there, and it's starting to dissolve into the water, into the bloom there. Now, while that's going on, I'm going to start the rest of my pizza dough here. So I want 2 cups of flour. So there's my first cup. And I'll get another second cup out of here. We've got a big crowd of the family coming tonight for dinner. So I'm actually going to double this recipe and make another batch after we're done with the filming of this. But 2 cups of flour. And then I want about a half a teaspoon of salt. Now, if you're controlling your salt intake, you can take a little bit out of this. If you like a little bit more salt in your flavoring, you can add a little bit more, put in a full teaspoon if you like there. Now here's the Double Meal Dad secret ingredient. We are going to add some white cornmeal. You can make cornbread out of this, or you can make corn cakes or anything of that nature. We're going to add cornmeal to our pizza dough recipe. This is going to give it a nice crispness. We're going to roll it out thin, and we're going to get a very crispy and very sturdy crust with a lot of good crunch in it. Now, if you're one of those people who says, I don't like the crispy dough, I like it more doughy, I like it to be soft and chewy, not a problem. And by the way, I'll have the recipe posted on the YouTube video down below. Replace the cornmeal with just another half a cup of flour. So just add another half a cup of flour. Then we're going to add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. 1, 2, 3. Put that aside. We've got our little KitchenAid mixer here. Go ahead and lock that down. and I'm just going to put that on slow. Now, as you can see, my yeast has become kind of a milky color inside of here. So it's nice and milky. All of that yeast has dissolved in there. If it hasn't, don't worry about it. Just give it a few more minutes. No pressure here. I'm slowly going to add this water and yeast combination to my dough. And as it starts to incorporate, this is going to start to get thick. It's going to start to ball up. I'm going to turn that on a little faster. Okay, and now it's gotten to be a sticky ball inside of my mixer here. So I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and I will go ahead and pull all of this dough out of here. Let me remove my attachment here. Go ahead and grab all of this nice, good pizza dough. And I've got it just a little sticky here, so I put a little flour down on my board. And now I'm just going to try to work this till I've got most of that stickiness gone. Now, in the Double Meal Dad kitchen, remember, we don't like to have to clean a lot of dishes, and we don't like to have to, pull a lot of pots and pans out. So one real simple trick here is just go ahead and add a little bit more olive oil to this bowl, okay? And as we roll this out, now we've got most of the stickiness gone. We're going to go ahead and make a nice round ball out of this. And all we're going to do is drop this back in here. Now what the olive oil will do is it'll keep that dough from sticking to the stainless steel pot. Go ahead and take that off of there. And then a little trick is we just want this to rise. So we just want to let it sit. So I'm going to go ahead and cover that with a little tea towel that I've just run in some warm water and wrung out good so it's not sopping wet. I'm just going to go put that in the side. So remember, the goal here is that I've gotten up in the morning, maybe I've made some coffee, I'm getting ready to go to work, and I've just started the pot. And I know I've got about 10 or 15 minutes before it's ready. I can take 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm going to go ahead and set my pizza dough aside. When we come back, I'm also going to show you how to make a simple, no-bake pasta sauce. It's my wife's family recipe. It's called pasta Goolagia. They're Sicilian, so they say pasta Goolagia. And it's a really simple, no-bake recipe for sauce. We can use it for pizza sauce. We can use it for spaghetti. The other good thing about it is because those of us that live down here in the South where it's really hot all the time, we don't like to necessarily turn on our ovens or our stoves, so this is a no-bake recipe, very easy to use, and I'll walk you through that when we come back. All right? Okay, welcome back. Well, as you can see, we've cleaned up the Double Meal Dad kitchen, and now we're going to make our Goolagia sauce. And like I said, this is a very simple recipe, just a few ingredients, and you can actually change it up to fit your needs. So I'm just going to open up a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. You can buy whatever brand you like. Rolled Gold just happened to be on sale at our HEB. I don't get any sponsorship money from Rolled Gold, so just happened to be what was on sale. I'm going to go ahead and put that in the stainless steel bowl here, and then I'll rinse that out and we can put that in the recycling for later. And then I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of olive oil. So I'm just going to put a tablespoon of olive oil in there. And I'm going to cut up 2 whole garlic cloves. Now, the recipe calls for 2 whole garlic cloves. I'm actually going to sneak a 3rd one in there because the Double Meal Dad likes a lot of garlic. If you don't like a lot of garlic, you can cut back on the recipe and cut it down. You can't eliminate the garlic altogether because remember, the garlic and the olive oil is what's going to cook our tomato sauce here. So you've got to put at least some in there. And we don't want you to use garlic salt or garlic powder or anything. We want you to use fresh garlic for this. So little trick is I just cut a little off the end of the garlic, and now you can see that that skin just peels right off. So that's a little trick. If you're having trouble peeling the skin off the garlic, it's one quick way to do this. Remember, we're going to save our skins. We're going to put them in our soup bag that we have in the freezer. Another way to do it is if you just take your knife, kind of lay it on its side like this. Make sure you don't have the sharp pointy part up, but lay it on its side like this and just give it kind of a little tap. And what that'll do is that'll break the skin open. And as you can see, very easy to then peel that skin right off. So, just a couple of tricks to help you peel your garlic a little bit faster. Let's go ahead and just cut a couple pieces off here, and we'll have our garlic ready to go. Now, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to take our garlic press, and we're just going to go ahead and put the garlic right in the press and squeeze that right into the pasta Goolagia. So very straightforward. Again, the oils and the skin and everything from the garlic is going to help us cook the sauce. Now, little trick, if you don't have a garlic press, all you have to do is take your knife. Again, remember we just kind of tapped it before? This time, instead of tapping it, we're going to smash it. And you'll see that what will happen is you'll get some nice pressed garlic all on your knife like that. Very easy. So you can either use our garlic press if you have one, if you're fortunate enough to have one. Don't have to run out and buy one if you don't, though. Very easy to do. You'll get a lot of garlic in here. Again, well, the more garlic you get, the more zip you're going to get in there. But that's it. You're done. Literally, in about 5 minutes before you go to work, you can make yourself a completely edible, beautiful pasta that's ready for you to just come home. You can take some noodles out of the cover, boil up some water, put those noodles in the pot, serve this on top of there, and that's your first meal. Or you can use it as a pizza sauce, which we're going to do in just a few short minutes. So one of the other things that you're going to want to do is then you're going to want to season this to taste. So I've got a couple different things here. I've got fresh oregano and fresh basil, and we're going to want to add some fresh oregano or basil. Now, basil's got a very licoricey flavor to it. Some people like it, some people don't. I'm okay with it. Mama Rose loves basil, so I'm going to go ahead and put some basil in there. If you're going to use it as a pizza dough, maybe you don't want to add basil to it, or maybe you do. Maybe you're making like a margarita pizza, some mozzarella or something like that on top of it. Go ahead and add some basil to it. I've got just about maybe a couple good-sized handfuls. I'm also going to add a lot of fresh oregano to it. Now, if you're not fortunate enough to live in an area where you can grow basil or oregano, maybe you live in an apartment and don't have a herb tree or an herb garden out there that you can grab some stuff from, don't worry about it. You can use dry ingredients at this point. The garlic, we need the fresh garlic, but for this we could use dry ingredients. So I want you to use somewhere about a half a tablespoon of both the basil and the oregano. And again, this is all about your personal preference. So if that gets too much flavor for you, you want to cut it back a little bit, go ahead and cut that back. And like I said, at this point, we're all done. We've put our herbs in there, we've got our garlic and our olive oil, and now we're just going to let thyme, T-I-M-E, not T-H-I-M-Y-M-E, not the thyme, the herb, but just thyme do its trick there. We're just going to set it on the counter. We're going to let it just go all day, and our pasta sauce is ready. So we did our dough, we've got that rising, we did our pasta sauce. Took us 10 to 15 minutes before we go to work. We're going to go to work, and when we come back, we're going to put our pizza together, and that's going to be our first meal. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you in a few minutes. Hello, and welcome back to the Double Meal Dad Kitchen. We've cleaned up most of the stuff that we used this morning to make our pizza dough and to make our Goolagia sauce. That's been sitting. I've also got some other Goolagia sauce here that I froze. Remember, that's the whole point of the Double Meal Dad. We're going to be able to use this over and over again. That's our goal here, so we can make multiple recipes from just one thing. I've also laid out a few other ingredients here, because remember, the point of this is to make your life easier. So we made some pizza dough, but oh my gosh, I went to work and I forgot to make the pizza dough. Not a problem. I'm going to make a little something with the Goolagia sauce using just some naan bread for my grandchildren. They like pepperoni and they like pepperoni pizza, so we're going to use some naan bread. We're going to use a little bit of our Goolagia sauce and some pepperoni and some Italian cheese. So I've got a whole selection of different cheeses out there. I'm going to start by making a Mexican pizza. And for this recipe, we happen to have, our local grocery store has something they call a meal deal. So if you bought this fully cooked pork carnitas, you got about 5 things free at our grocery store, which, That's one of the Double Meal Dad's favorite words, is free. So I bought this pork carnitas. You could use, we've got some fresh homemade Italian sausage was on sale. It was $2 a pound, so Italian sausage, we can put that on our pizza. So there's a whole list of ingredients. This month at H-E-B, we had hatch peppers were on sale. I roasted up. Now, you might not have time for this, but for those of you that are energetic enough or have some time on your hands, roasting peppers is one of the great little secrets for flavor that you can do to add a little flavor to your red and your green peppers. So all I did was I turned my stove on and got it hot on the stove here, and then I just put the peppers right on the flame and roasted those. Then I put them inside this stainless steel bowl, covered it with a little aluminum foil, let it sit for a few minutes. That sweats the skin off, you rinse it off, and then you cut them up. So that's all I did. So multiple different ingredients. Oh, I forgot to take the Goolagia sauce out of the freezer. Not a problem. Go get yourself a little queso dip. Maybe that's on sale. Here's a 4-cheese Alfredo sauce that happened to be on sale at our local grocery store. There's all different kinds of good pizza recipes. The Mario Batali pizza sauce is outstanding. We use that, the Napoleone pizza sauce, when we have don't have any Goulagia sauce defrosted, or we haven't made any. Very easy to go ahead and do that. So I've made the pizza dough. I'm going to go ahead and you'll see it's expanded several times larger than what it was when we first started it in the bowl. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that pizza dough. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I'm going to go ahead and pull that pizza dough out. I'm going to flour my board liberally now. And what I'm going to do is this recipe. Now I know that you'll see other recipes on the internet that'll say, you know, that's good for maybe a 14-inch or a 16-inch pizza. This recipe is good for at least 2 12-inch pizzas, and that's just the way I make it. I like my pizza crust thin, so we're going to thin this out quite a bit. The other thing you can do if you're a Chicago-style lover pizza, you can use one of those deep dish pans and put this in the pan and just kind of, move it around that way, and go ahead and fill up the pan. And maybe we'll do that on a different show. I actually did do that. So I'm going to take the half of this and put that over here, and then I'm just going to go ahead and start to roll this out. And I'm fortunate enough to have my wife's old rolling pin that she got from her grandmother, whose recipe we used to make the Goulagia sauce. So I'm just going to go ahead and roll this out. And now you notice that it's very, very springy. If you're one of those people that has that skill set that you can go ahead and spin that without ripping it like I did, great, go ahead and do that. I'm going to have to go ahead and just redo this right here. And we're going to go. Okay, I apologize. We had a little bit of camera difficulty there, so that may have cut out on you. Apparently we ran out of battery power. We're back though. So I finished rolling this out. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my pizza pan here, and I'm going to go ahead and just put a little bit of olive oil on there and rub that on my pan. That's going to help us, again, keep the dough from sticking, and it's going to help us with a little bit of crispness there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lay my pizza dough right out on the pan. Tuck it all into the corners here. There we go. So nice and laid out. Then I'm going to take my pizza cutter and very quickly just go around like that. Pull off the excess. I've got a nicely trimmed pizza. I'm going to leave that dough back with the other dough that I had left over. So now I've got a nice thin pizza dough. Again, if you like it a little thicker, don't roll it out so much. Maybe use a little bit more dough. Since this is a Mexican pizza, what I'm going to do is they had a special. If you bought some of the special spreads at our local grocery store, you got free pita chips. So we got some free pita chips. I've done this before using the queso cheese. You can make a roasted red pepper aioli if you want. I could have taken those red peppers that I roasted, put them in a blender with a little bit of olive oil. We're just trying to give ourselves a little bit of a base here on the bottom of our pan. So this is just going to, on the bottom of our pizza crust here. So I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to spread a little bit of this cheese around here. It's going to give me a nice cheesy flavor. The whole point of this is use what you like. This chili queso cheese is going to be pretty thick. So I'm going to just go ahead and spread this around a little bit. And then I'm going to dress the pizza up in whatever manner I want to dress the pizza up. And then we're going to use the Goolagia sauce, and we're going to make a little small pepperoni pizza using the naan bread, so that really the goal here is to show you how versatile this recipe, both of these recipes can be, how you can use them in multiple dishes. We'll come back and make, there we go, that's enough sauce. We'll come back and make that pasta that I explained to you before with the Goolagia sauce. I'm going to go ahead and I cut up some fresh red onions. I'm going to go ahead and put some fresh red onions on here. And remember what I said, I bought some pork carnita meat from the grocery store. So I'm going to go ahead and, this can be anything you like. You got some turkey in the refrigerator, you got some leftover sausage, hamburger. Oh my gosh, cheeseburger pizzas are delicious. So make yourself a little bit of cheeseburger pizza. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of the shredded pork on. Oh my gosh, it smells delicious already. I can't wait to eat it. Now I've set the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And remember, with the exception of the crust and the red onions, a lot of the ingredients here are already pre-cooked. So I don't really have to worry about cooking these through. Now with the Italian sausage or something like that, if you're using like a fresh Italian sausage, you're going to want to make sure you cook that through because you've got pork in there. We don't want it to be undercooked. And then I'm going to take a little bit of these roasted red peppers that look so good. I'm going to put these. I roasted them. I took the skin off of them, and then I cut them up into slices. So I'm going to put those on there. I'm going to put a little bit of these hatch peppers on there. These are long. They're kind of like a New Mexico green chile. Very spicy, a lot of flavor. Of course, I've removed I roasted them, which is going to cut the heat a little bit, and I've removed all the seeds, so they're not going to be too hot. I've also got some green peppers so that when the kids come over later, if they want to put some green peppers and have something that's not so hot, they can. Now, like I said, I like mine spicy, so you can use any of the packaged cheeses. I've got some Mexican cheese here, I've got some Italian cheese, I've got some pizza cheese, but they had a special on the jalapeno jack cheese, rather. Not habanero, jalapeno jack cheese. So I'm just going to go ahead and put myself a few slices of this jalapeno jack cheese, not habanero. That was a little too spicy for the Double Meal Dad. I like it spicy, but that's just a little too spicy for me. So I'm going to go ahead and put that on there like that. We're going to go ahead and throw that in the oven for, like I said, 15 to 20 minutes. It should take about 20 minutes for it to get all nice and toasty and golden brown. We'll come back, I'll pull it out, and I'll cut you a slice, and we'll show you how it looks. And in the interim, I'm going to put together one of the naan bread pizzas with the Goolagia sauce, and I'll show you that when we come back. Thanks. Okay, y'all, we're back at back in the kitchen, and about 20 minutes has gone by, and we're going to shut this off, and there's our pizza all done. Came home 15 minutes, 20 minutes later. We had set the oven at 400 degrees. Now, if you don't like, if you want your pizza a little bit crispier for the last 5 minutes, go ahead and turn that up to 520. Turn that up to 425, or even on broil for a few minutes, and you'll be able to just brown up the top of that. We're just going to go ahead and take a pizza cut. Oh, you can hear how crisp that is as we go through there. Just nice crispy dough as we go through there. And I'm going to go ahead and get myself a little spatula here and a little plate. I'm just going to serve that up. And look at how stiff that crust is from that cornmeal that's going to keep that together. Over here, I've made myself, for our grandkids, I've made them up just using a little bit of that naan bread, as I said I was going to do, and some of our Goolagia sauce, and just a couple of pepperonis and some pizza cheese, and we're all done. So, hey, listen, thanks for watching the Double Meal Dad. I know this was a long video, but hopefully you learned a few things, a few tricks, and we're going to use some of the other ingredients that we've made in some other videos. So I appreciate you staying with me, and I wish you good cooking. Take care, y'all.